Hey y'all, welcome back to Goalpost Barbecue and Cooking. Remember, if it's Goalpost, it's good. Today we're going to do something that I had the idea for when I was walking around the grocery store the other day. Specifically, I was walking around Aldi. And I couldn't help but notice how, and you probably, if you shop at Aldi, have noticed yourself, that the inventory there is constantly turning over. I don't know about you, but here in this house, we're on a budget. I want to make good food though, and I had the idea to try and see if I could make good barbecue from whatever happened to be available at Aldi that day. And so here we are. We're going to make some barbecue ribs with what I could find at Aldi. This happened to be yesterday. So here's what we're working with. I found some, these are Tyson brand, but they often have baby backs over at Aldi. Pretty good price on these bad boys at $2.29. Now they're listed here as spares, but they're cut into St. Louis cuts, as you can see just here. So I've got 2 racks of these here. In addition to that, we're going to be working with Berman's Memphis style barbecue sauce. I have not tasted this yet, so I'm not sure how this works. And I could not find a barbecue rub there. Now, sure, I could have just gone over to the spice aisle and picked up some spices, but I confess I kind of felt like that was cheating a little bit. So I went through their other spice rubs that were available. There was a chicken brew rub. There were some no salt rubs, which if you need to lower your sodium intake, have at. I'm sure they're really good. But I went with this Cajun seasoning. So this seasoning here, the ingredients are salt, garlic, paprika, spices, onion, and red pepper. That seemed like a pretty good base, that plus barbecue sauce. Here in the house already from Aldi, I had some Worcestershire sauce, which I'm going to use as my binder. And then I have seasoning salt, which if you've watched my other videos, you know I love. So all of these come direct from Aldi, and as far as the spices and sauces is concerned, these are Aldi brand. Today what we're going to do is we're going to put it out on the Weber Smoky Mountain. It's going to be going at about 250, 275 over some cherry and hickory wood. I almost said chicory wood. That's not correct. Cherry and hickory wood. And I have decided, I think, that one of these racks I'm going to wrap, and then the other rack I am not. So y'all stick around. We're gonna make some good barbecue on a budget here today with what I was able to find yesterday at Aldi. I hope you enjoy the video, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. All right, y'all, let's get started. So as you can see, I've taken the ribs out of the packaging. I've got my spices lined up over here. Here's a pro tip. Go ahead and have them opened up so that you can have your clean hand and your messy hand. I got the old temperature gauge set up here, so we're sitting at 156 right now out on the Smoky Mountain. So we've got plenty of time here to get these ribs dressed and ready to go. I almost forgot. I'm gonna have to reach over here into one of the cabinets and pull out, you're gonna hear it, a cookie sheet. Well, there we go. There we go. Nothing's ever too simple, is it? To put the ribs on when they are ready to go outside. All right, so step number 1, as I was quickly reminded of just a moment ago, take off your wedding ring. Put it somewhere safe. I put mine in a mug that sits on top of the little sill I have here. All right, so these are St. Louis cuts. I just a moment ago said clean hand, dirty hand, but hey, guess what? It happens. That's all right. So, first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to, just like I do with all my ribs, pat them dry. And then I'm going to start on the back side here, so I typically will do the back side second. There we go. It doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing has to be perfect. There we go. All right, so forgive my arm. Step 2 is to remove the membrane that's here on the back of the ribs. This will help them be a little bit more tender. What I like to do is take a butter knife, and then I just find a middle rib here and slide right up the center, and then I sort of just start to lever it out. There we go. Now, sometimes they come off easy, sometimes they don't. So just gauge it out and see how she's behaving for you. Not bad on that end. You can see there's a little bit still there, so we'll probably have to come back around. Here's a pro tip. Use the paper towels to grip. Don't use your fingers, because your fingers will slip. And you get a real sense of how small my kitchen is when I'm doing this, because I just don't have other spaces where I can do this and not make a huge mess. So I end up doing it here at the T-bar, if you will, the cross point of my sinks. But that's part of the reason why we started doing this, channel, is because I've got just a regular old small kitchen. There you go. So it's off there. Here's the membrane. I'm gonna toss it in the sink, and I will toss that into the trash here in just a little while. Now we're ready to get started on the ribs themselves. All right. So after we're finished here, I'm gonna give everything a good wipe down. Start with our binder, our Worcestershire sauce. Just gonna lay it on a little bit here. This is the same Worcestershire sauce that I used in the smoked watermelon video. If you haven't seen that, go ahead and take a look at our library. There we go, just a little bit will do. Then we're gonna put on a base layer here of the seasoned salt. Actually, on this bottom layer, I'm not going to worry about that. I don't think. I'm just going to put a little bit of that Cajun on here. I tasted this Cajun seasoning, I should say. It's got a little bit of heat to it. And we have some folks who are going to eat these who are not as prone to hot things as I. So I'm going to try and take it easy on that Cajun seasoning a little bit. Same thing on the other side here. Easy peasy. Worcestershire sauce binder. I had a question from Grant in my pulled pork video about using Worcestershire sauce instead of using mustard. I used to use mustard, and now I use Worcestershire sauce. As far as the flavor difference is concerned, perhaps it is a placebo. I'm really not sure, but I would almost swear, seasoning salt here, I would almost swear that the final product has a slightly, perhaps tiny little bit more savoriness to it when using the Worcestershire instead of the mustard. Maybe I'm wrong about that. There we go. Looking good. I'm not going to worry so much about getting the edges for these guys here, just because again, this Cajun rub has a little bit of heat on it, and I don't want to overpower our friends who are going to enjoy these ribs. All right, that's one rack. I'm going to take these, put them over here. They're ready to go on the smoker. We'll start with rack number 2 here in just a moment, and then as soon as we are up to temperature, we'll be ready to take them out. Now that I've finished the second rack of ribs here, you can see that these guys are looking pretty good. The paprika in the rub and in the seasoned salt have given them a nice color here. I'm colorblind, but I can see that color. Now we've hit a couple of notes here already. We've hit heat with the Cajun rub. We've hit salt with the seasoned salt, and there's salt in the rub as well. We've hit savory with the ribs themselves. And there's a little bit of savoriness, I'm convinced, again, I'll say it again, with that Worcestershire sauce that's on there. We're going to hit tang with our acid, tang with our spritz, and we're going to hit sweet on those final notes with the barbecue sauce. Again, I'm going to wrap one of these. I'm not sure which one just yet. I might pick the one that has looked like it has performed the worst in rapid. As you can see, or you might not be able to see, I have a cat who is very interested in these. At any rate, these are just about ready to get on. As you can, I think, see, we're at 222 here on the smoker. So as soon as we hit 225-ish, it's ish now, I guess, I'm gonna go out there and close down the vents and hopefully settle us out at about 275 and get these guys on and rolling. We are just about ready to go. Alright, now y'all, I intended to get these things on by 11 and it is 11:30. The smoker is only about 230 right now, but I'm gonna go ahead and put these on here and just let it warm up with it. There's a lot of smoke, as you can see. I'm really not overly worried about that. I don't think that you should be either. So that's my opinion. It'll calm down here in just a little while. So I'm gonna move that out of the way right now while we put these racks on. I believe I made mention of this already, but you'll be able to see pretty plainly. I did not bother to trim these up too much. They're all right the way they are, I think. I'm gonna kind of smush them in a little bit here, just to kind of straighten out the meat there between them. There we go. Looking good. All right, I'm gonna go wash my hands real fast. And we're back. Sorry about that delay. So I just wanted to wash my hands before I put on my gloves to move my thermometer around and all that. Not really sure what I was thinking earlier when I ran it through the grate handle here. Probably was not thinking. Ouch. All right, so we're gonna stick this here in the middle. Try and keep a good idea of the temperature there. I'll run this off to the side. For whatever reason, when I run this through the port for it, it gives me that weird temperature reading from the other videos if you've seen them. So I just put it under the lip and it seems to pinch it, but it does just fine there. So I'm not gonna worry about it too much. I'm gonna go ahead, I don't need to right now, but just for the sake of ease, I'm gonna go ahead and insert a temperature probe. So that means I'm gonna go ahead and pick one of these to wrap. And since this one is really long and strewn out here, I think I'm gonna pick these guys to wrap. So we will, there's the bone there. Slide this in here just like that. Try and avoid any contact with the bone. And we'll plug it in. I'll step behind the camera here, excuse me. All right. Looking good. I'm gonna get these covered up and we're gonna leave them alone for probably the next at least hour, but we'll check back in here as soon as I open it up again. Oh, mercy, that hickory smoke. Again, this is hickory and cherry. Got these ribs on over a water pan. Looking good. It has been an hour since we put these on, so let's take a look at these guys and see how they're doing. All right. Those look good. Yeah, starting to get, nope, shouldn't have touched it. No, it's not tacked on yet. That's okay. These are in good shape. I am gonna say that this thermometer is reading kind of weird. It's already saying that it's 175. That is not the case. So we're gonna take this out and put this into another part. We'll just put it over here and see how it does. This guy is running pretty hot, about 270. That's pretty much where I want it to be for this cook, and I'm happy about that. So we're gonna let this cover back up here and we'll check it again in another hour. Looking good though, I'm happy with that. This is not set yet, so I'm not gonna worry about spritzing just yet. See y'all in a little bit. Let's take a look at these ribs in here. Looking pretty good. What's that down there, you ask? Oh, well, make sure you check out our video where I show you how I like to make barbecue beans, and you'll know. We're almost at the 2-hour mark here. You can see that this is starting to look a little bit dry, but that's set on there really nicely. I'm happy with the way that looks. So now it's time for us to spritz. This is not breaking the rules of our challenge here. All of what's in here was bought at Aldi. This is just a North Carolina barbecue sauce. So it's got apple cider vinegar, black pepper, red pepper, and a little bit of brown sugar in here. I'll do a video at some point to show you how I make that. But we're just gonna take these and spritz them on. I know lots of people use actual spritzers, but these are convenient for me, so this is how I do it. And that little bit of tang off of that vinegar and all that is just gonna roll down into those beans down there, but that's for another video. For now, these guys are looking good. They're pretty much where I want them to be. And here in a short while, we're gonna come back and take these guys off and get them wrapped up. Y'all stay around. Y'all stay around. Lord, y'all stick around. It's been almost 3 hours, y'all, so let's take a look and see how these ribs are doing. Oh yeah, these are plenty dark here. That's looking nice. So these guys here are running right about 180 or so, maybe a little bit higher. That's good. This is nice and set here. I like the way those look. So we're gonna get these ready to wrap. Just gonna take the thermometer out of this one here. I'm gonna stick it in these guys here because they're, there we go. A little better. Put it in there, I think. Guess I could have waited on that. Lord help me. So I'm gonna take these here, put them onto this cookie sheet. And I'm gonna run these inside real quick. I'll be right back with something for these other guys. All right, I'm back out. The other ribs are inside. We're gonna wrap those here in just a minute, but I'm gonna give these guys that are gonna stay open a little more spritzing. I moved them a little closer into the center of the grate here. Once I put the other ones on here, they're gonna be wrapped in foil, so I'm gonna put them about right here. Okay, gonna have to be careful with the spritz. We're starting to run a little bit low. That's okay, it's easy to remake, as you'll see in a future video. And the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm getting a little concerned about the non-presence of sweetness on these thus far. So I'm gonna put some brown sugar on these guys here. There we go. All right, I'm happy with that. I'm gonna cover these guys back up. Let's take it inside and get these wrapped up. We are inside and we are just about ready to wrap. What I've done here, y'all, is I've laid out some brown sugar and some pats of butter for these ribs to rest on. You can see I've got them right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take them and I'm going to turn them face side down onto those. Oh, they're hot. Hang on. And on they go. All right, not too bad. So a little sweetness on there, just like we did for the ones outside. This is extra wide, heavy duty foil. You know what? I'm going to put a little extra moisture in here too, just because we did that for the others. There we go. A little bit more of that spritz. Get some steam in there. All right. Take that. Fold it over, nice and tight. Okay. One layer. And then layer number 2. and they're gonna go right back onto the grill, or the smoker, exactly like this. Face down, soaking up all that goodness. I don't think I'm gonna show that to you just because it means I have to take the camera and the tripod and everything else back outside, but it's going right back on here at the 3-hour mark, and we'll check on them in just a little while. All right, now y'all, check it out. These ribs here are reading, there's a leaf. These ribs here are reading really hot, but they're reading at like 200. Now out here on the end, they're smooth, and but that is not finished. There's some resistance there in the middle. This is what people are talking about when they're talking about cooking to a probe, and oftentimes people say cook to a temperature, but even that, you just got to be careful about, because there is some serious resistance there. You can probably see it moving when I'm trying to pull out the probe. It needs more time. It's okay out here. See, like out here, definitely, like it's good, but here in the middle, not yet. So just a quick lesson for any of y'all who are pretty new to this: cook to a probe. I don't even have the thermometer on, as you can see here. That's not what I'm concerned about. This tenderness, right? There's definite resistance in there. It should most assuredly be like warm butter. And you see that? It's just not. So this needs more time. We're gonna give it to it, but we'll be back to sauce these here in just a little while. They're close, but not done. It's only been about 3 hours, 40 minutes or so since these ribs went on, but they are coming out to a really high temperature, and they're definitely probing better than they were just a little while ago. It's a little teeny tight here in the center, but we need to get these things sauced. And I think in here, in the foil, it's probably the same story. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw out this thermometer here, and we're gonna unfoil these real quick and easy. Just for sake of ease, I'm gonna move the grate probe out. You can tell by the number of pokes in the foil here that I just can't leave stuff alone sometimes, and yeah, that's me. Oh, those are looking all right. You can definitely tell where I took the membrane off here, can't you? That's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these off of here, and we're going to put them back on. Look at that. That's a nice color. And I'm going to take this and set it over here out of the way, because now it's time for us to sauce. Now I'm going to keep this on the grate here just so that I can get a good read on the temperature in the dome. All right, let's sauce these babies up. Looking pretty good. So unwrapped, wrapped. There are a lot of people who swear by what's called a 3-2-1 method, where you smoke for 3 hours, you wrap for 2, and then you sauce for 1. I've never really met with a lot of success in that method. It works. I know it does because everybody says that it does, but for me, I've never really been in a place where saucing for an hour makes sense, and cooking ribs for 6 hours. Now, I don't cook ribs at 225. I don't really like them at 225 because they just become too soft for my liking. But these have only been on for, like I said, about 3 hours and 40 minutes, 3 hours 45 minutes at this point. But they're up to temper, and they're starting to probe pretty well. So we're just going to get some sauce on here and let it tack up, and then these guys are going to be ready to come off and rest for a little while. Let's take a quick probe of this guy since it was sitting inside. Yeah, it's that. I'm gonna take an instant read on that. All right, these guys are good. This guy's gonna need some more time though. Definitely some more time. Reading pretty low, so we're gonna let him come up to temp here. It is going on 4 total hours of cooking time for these ribs, and I think that these guys, the unwrapped ones, are pretty much ready to go. Yeah, look at that. That's definitely like soft butter there. A lot of bones in this particular rack, and they're pretty thin. That's I think probably the reason for the difference in cooking time between these two guys. These guys are coming along, but they're not done yet. But these definitely are. Confession time. Should have left these in the wrapper a little bit longer, but the thermometers were tricking me. So we're gonna go ahead and get these guys off of here. Y'all, the flies this year have been so bad here in Virginia. I hope that they have not been as bad where you are. But we're gonna get these guys out of here and get them out of the flies as quick as we can. These are gonna still need some time. I see some beans down there looking pretty good though. We'll check back in a little bit. All right now, y'all, we're gonna check on these ribs. Let's see how they're doing. Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, that's pretty much like butter. Okay, yeah. Little bit of resistance in there, little bit, but not too bad. All right, that's looking good. We are at 5 hours and 15 minutes on these guys. We ran these at a little bit higher temperature day today, so no worries about that. These are looking good. Let's get them off and cut them open and see how they're doing. Whew. After a long day, we finally have ribs. So these are the ones that were wrapped and these were the ones that were not. Although I'll caution you to say that we really shouldn't pay too much attention to the fact that they were wrapped or not, because these were not wrapped very long, an hour or so maybe. But let's give a try to one of these. I'm gonna pick the prettiest one here. And believe it or not, I think the ones that were not wrapped came out the prettiest. So I'm gonna pick this one right here and we'll give it a look-see. Let's take a look. I don't know if you can see that. I hope you can. Nice smoke ring. Good shine on it. Here we go. Perfect bite. Those are good ribs. That's good. You know, the question starting into this was whether or not you can make good barbecue just with what you find at Aldi. Well, I used a Cajun rub with some ribs that were on sale with some barbecue sauce from Aldi, and on top of that, just some seasoning salt and some Worcestershire that I already had here in the house, also from Aldi. And look at these nice results. They have a nice bite, but soft. Enough to enjoy. So good. Hey y'all, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you watching this video. And if you enjoy it, make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel so that when we embark on more adventures, you'll be right there with us. If you have any questions or any comments, I really hope that you'll leave them down in the comment section below. I look forward to hearing from you. Once again, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. And remember, if it's a goalpost, it's good. It's good. See?